It can seem sometimes, with all that's happening in the world, that we're the only ones here.
We're all here to angel up the consciousness of humanity right now.
Could anyone be watching, witnessing, listening?
I was given a vision by the Angelic Realm. Every time a human opens their heart, aligns with their higher soul, it shoots a beam of light into the universe and it illuminates any darkness on the earth.
What about the angels? Can I really ask them for help? Am I worthy enough?
Those are human stories of unworthiness that we have created.
Can I be in conversation with angels of the cosmos?
Welcome. You have entered the realm of 1111 Talk Radio. Your host is SIMRAN. It's time to discover your own language with the universe. Empower yourself, broaden your mind, open your heart, and discover who you are. Now, here's your host, SIMRAN.
Today, I have a beautiful channeled message from the angels by the illustrious Sue Frederick, who I have had on the show before, and I'm so excited to bring back on today. As usual, she has a message, information, and resources that are so perfect for the time that we're in. Sit back, take a deep breath, and listen. Beloved one, things have changed on Earth, and we need you to understand this. We've been given a new earthly assignment for these times to help you ascend into your true essence, to accelerate your awakening as a being of divine light while still living your human life. We have always been perfectly designed to save humanity from chaos. We, as a collective of Angelic Realm souls, are more formidable and stronger than the forces of hatred and division on Earth. However, at this time, we've been called up by the God Source, to step into the earthly realms in more visible and accessible ways for humans to become the most powerful divine beings on Earth, to aid in your ascension by lifting you into new levels of soul awakening. Our intercession is your salvation. You, as awakened humans on Earth, are being asked to line up with us, to stand beside us, to engage your own angelic soul abilities and become one with us. The Angelic Realm team here on Earth, together, we are more powerful than the darkness. Our love will heal the chaos. We are needed. You are needed. You are being asked to walk into every situation with the light of heaven around you like a cloak. Your sword is the cutting edge of precise, unconditional love, wielded into every battle on Earth. You are no longer simply human. You are now an angel on Earth. Angel up, and so it is. This is from the beautiful book by Sue Frederick, and it is titled Angel Up, The Angel's Guide to Ascension. And there is actually a study guide that is a sacred companion to this book, and it is called the Angel Up Study Guide. Sue Frederick's unique gift of powerful intuition, channeled wisdom from guides and departed loved ones, sacred numerology, and spiritual insight lifts you into the mystical to heal grief and to find purpose. She is a master numerologist, an ordained Unity Minister, and a lifelong intuitive. Welcome, Sue, back to 1111 Talk Radio. It is a joy to have you here.
Oh, what a gift to be here with you again, SIMRAN. You are such an angel soul.
Before the show started, I told you that we always seem to meet up at the same place at the same time, and this was like a heavenly embrace.
You know, this book and the next book, the study guide, and actually there's a third book in the series about to come out, the 33-day journal of angel guidance. These books came through me as an answer to my cry to the universe of why is humanity going backwards to me? Like, why are we going back to conflict and hatred and discrimination and all of these things that I believed we had begun to transcend. And I'm an old human on earth, so I've been here a long time and I've seen all of these different trends in our collective consciousness. And this one was really upsetting me. And so I called out to the angels and said, I really need your help understanding this. And I'm always seeing clients and teaching classes. So I need you to give me what needs to be shared. And they just poured this book through me. I'm embarrassed to say it came through me in a week. I mean, I've been a writer for decades and I've never had a book pour through me with such force and clarity as Angel Up, the Angel's Guide to Ascension. I go back and read it and I'm just lifted up again. It is so purely from the angelic realm to help all of humanity remember that we're all here to angel up the consciousness of humanity right now and that they are helping us. But yes, these are times of intensity.
It is a very clear guide. That is quite evident as one moves through it. The meditations, the processes, even the explanation as to where we are at this time and why this is so necessary is very simply and beautifully laid out. We hear a lot of people talk about how there's more light on the planet than ever before, more people waking up than ever before, how this is a time where consciousness is truly shifting, and yet there's also this equal contrast.
Right.
And there is a balance to these two. Talk about the distinction of this work for those who are particularly pointed to seeing consciousness rising and being completely of the light, as well as the person who is immersed in the contrast at this moment.
Back in 2014, I was given a vision by the Angelic Realm. And at the time, I didn't quite understand it. I was shown the earth from a distance, and I was shown all of these beams of light shooting up from earth into space. I said, "What is that?" And the angels said, every time a human opens their heart, aligns with their higher soul, it shoots a beam of light into the universe and it illuminates any darkness on the earth. And they showed me this moving image of light on earth overcoming all the dark crevices. And they showed it to me as an in-action movement. And they said, these coming times will be a difficult time for humanity. The contrast of light and dark will be greater than ever. But you, Sue, they were telling me all night, you have to help people understand that the light always wins, even if we can't see it in the moment of our life up close. Humans have to pull back and see that bigger picture, that the light always wins, even when it seems not.
I want to pause for a moment and let people really imagine that. Imagine hearts opening across the world and all those beams of light shooting up into the heavens where the entire cosmos can see it. To imagine your own heart gently opening and opening and opening, and that beam being brighter and brighter and brighter and more expansive. And then embrace the very simple idea, profound idea that Sue brings forward on the very first page in the introduction to her book, where she says, we are here for one divine purpose, to love one another. Now, Sue, you would think we would have gotten that one by now.
Don't you think? You know, it's because we don't really understand what love is here. Our human mind, our ego mind, makes us think it's about loving another person's personality or behavior or agreeing with them completely. There's no such thing as that kind of love, and it's just sort of an ego game. However, real love comes from the God source, and it comes into each of us as a flow of unconditional love, a force of unconditional love that flows through this whole universe and through each of us. This is not personal love. It is not me looking at another person who maybe I think is behaving destructively and saying, "Oh, I love you so much," It's about me going up to the higher view, the long view, and saying, I understand that you are a soul on a journey just like me, doing the best you can to evolve and awaken, and that I acknowledge your journey. I acknowledge your courage of coming to the human realm for this. And I acknowledge that perhaps you agreed to even be a bad player in this lifetime. And I acknowledge that when we are back in the higher realms after this lifetime is over, we will remember how perfectly we love each other, soul to soul.
Most of the listeners present probably have that concept that we've chosen certain masks, certain stories, certain lessons to have in this lifetime. And any beginning individuals on their personal and spiritual growth paths may be just opening to that. But it's not often mentioned or comes into the awareness that alongside of choosing our lessons, we actually choose our angels. We choose a team. You presented that idea in the book too. That brings a balance to the contrast that we are here to experience.
We are so surrounded by angelic beings who are our first responders, helping, loving, and nurturing us. Everybody thinks, well, I go to the God source. And of course, the God source is a flow of incredible unconditional love. And so our guides are also always helping us and counseling us. But the angels are pure beings of light and unconditional love who have surrounded us since the moment we took our first breath on earth as a human, and will be at our side until we take our last breath and get to return to spirit. These angels, their only job is to love us and help us awaken and help us get back up again when we're broken, help us remember our higher selves when we're lost in the ego mind. They are our team. And everyone, no matter how dark they may be feeling in this moment, they are still surrounded by these beings of light who love them unconditionally. And no matter how lost we are, we just need to say, angels, let me feel your love. Help me, heal me, lift me, love me. And it shifts us to a little bit of a higher frequency where we feel them and feel their love. And if it's a grieving mom, then she feels like, okay, I can go on another day. If it's someone who is struggling with the purpose and why am I here, that little bit of a shift allows them to feel comforted and supported and stay another day.
You pose two really powerful questions right in the beginning where you say, how much of this divine support are you accessing? As well as, will you listen to the voice of fear or the voice of angels? So when we're thinking about the angels, Sue, can we ask too much? Can we be worthy enough to know that they're always available? And
I
what
love
can
it
we
that you
ask
say
for?
worthy. I love it that you use the word worthy enough, because that right there is our human problem. And it comes from dogma, it comes from religion created by humans that has for centuries, thousands of years, made humans feel unworthy, less than, always sinners. I was born Catholic, so in that tradition, babies are born as sinners, if you can believe that. The power of those beliefs and that dogma has really poisoned our human minds. So that, yes, the question is, for humans, am I worthy of remembering that I'm a being of light and that the angels are around me and I can be helped and healed? And the human part of us will always make us doubt our worth. But that's why we have to really get into our soul's lens, that bigger picture, that pulling back and say, I came here to earth as a divine being, a perfect being of light and love. And I am traveling through these hard times, doing the best I can. And I am always a conduit of God's love, of God's light. And that light in me is greater than any circumstance I face and greater than any darkness I see.
Now, you've talked about the soul lens before, and even in your prior book, Through a Divine Lens, you go into much of that shift. For anyone that's new to you and new to this type of conversation, how does the landscape of an experience change when we look at it from our human eyes versus our soul lens?
When we agree to come to Earth, we say, okay, I'll agree to have a human mind and an ego, and it will force me to ground myself in that lower density reality we call Earth. And that is all needed, or we could not survive here. The ego's job is to keep us alive on Earth. So think about that. Of course, the ego is going to be telling us, oh, don't take that risk. Oh, don't trust. You can't love or trust or you'll be hurt. It's like the way overprotective mother, just saying, no, just stay in your room and don't go anywhere and be safe. And that's our human mind. Then our higher soul that says, all of this is in divine order. You just have to pull back to see it. And yes, you agreed to walk through pain because you agreed to awaken through that pain and bring your love and light to others and help them awaken through their pain. Those two voices battle it out. Our culture is so addicted to the fear-based thinking, the fear-based mind, that we have an epidemic of anxiety. Our young, beautiful children in this world right now are suffering from so much anxiety and fear. This is a result of our world constantly paying homage to the ego's fear-based model, and it is not serving humanity. And at this time in humanity, you see the play of the light and the dark right in front of us. The fear-based thinking that says we must take away the power of anyone we're different from or think differently from or look differently than. We must take their power away or they're going to hurt us because this is a dangerous, scary world, versus our soul, our higher self going, we are all part of this together. We all agreed here together to evolve and bring consciousness into the vibration of love and helping all of us achieve that higher way of living here on Earth.
You are certainly no stranger to grief and loss, and I have found that grief has been this type of portal to opening. I also have found that allowing myself to experience my humanity has been of great value in terms of cleansing or shedding belief systems or expanding into more of who I am. From the approach of Angel Up and the study guide, is there a place for humanity? What are we supposed to do with the feelings and the things that are so human? And how do we bridge that place then to what you're talking about? Or is it part of the walk of us angeling up?
Our pain is part of the walk of angeling up. And that is something that I think every spiritual teacher who's really tapped in understands, that we are here in these dense realms to experience and feel all of that pain, the grief, the lack of purpose, the relationship pain, the health crises, because it is in the mix of the light and the dark, of the pain and the joy, the love and the fear, that we have our greatest ascension, our greatest awakenings. Even the people who are acclaimed spiritual teachers on earth, they are also human. And that's why, we hear all these scandals, about a teacher doing something wrong, because we don't walk on this earth ever as a fully ascended being. We are walking on this earth with one foot in the human experience and one foot in our higher soul, our higher consciousness. And when I say it's now a tipping point, it's not like we're all going to lose our humanity. It's like we're going to find the blend of our humanity with our divinity that allows us to live here with more light and more love.
You are a divine being, a perfect being of light and love. You chose this earthly journey. You temporarily took on a human body, a personality, a mind, just for this trip. But none of those things are your essence. They are your vehicle in this dense and heavy realm called Earth, where your purpose is to grow, open your heart, quiet your mind, and help others. This is from the beautiful book by Sue Frederick, and it is titled Angel Up, The Angel's Guide to Ascension. Sue wants to ask you, how are you doing here on Earth? It's time to angel up. It means remembering that the God Source is all-loving, ever-present, and flowing through you at every moment. Now, your mind may block your ability to feel it, but your heart knows, and your soul remembers. Sue Frederick is also the author of Through a Divine Lens, Practices to Quiet Your Ego and Align with Your Soul. I See Your Dream Job, a career intuitive's guide to finding the work you came here to do. And I See Your Soulmate, an intuitive guide to finding and keeping love. Bridges to Heaven, true stories of loved ones on the other side. And Water Oak, the happiness of longing. SueFrederick.com. In addition, look up the free Soul Path Calculator. Register to have sessions directly with Sue to have an understanding of your soul path. Once again, we are discussing Angel Up, the Angel's Guide to Ascension, and a sacred companion to that, the Angel Up Study Guide. Go to SueFrederick.com. We'll be right back after these messages. Do join my Substack. My publication is Beyond the Illusion, and you can find it at iamsimran1111.substack.com. That link is in the bio description. You'll actually receive all of the 1111 magazine issues on audio as part of that, in addition to the weekly prompt, inquiry, contemplation, and meditation that I provide to all of the subscribers on the annual membership. That link is in the bio description.
You are listening to 1111 Talk Radio. SIMRAN is an award-winning author, publisher of 1111 Magazine, powerful speaker of wisdom, and a life mentor. Find out more at iamsimran.com. Now, back to 1111 Talk Radio.
I really enjoy working individually with people. If you're looking for some additional support and guidance, and you really want to dive into the subtle, then there are quite a few options on my website at iamsimran.com that have to do with shadow work or manifestation if you want a more focused approach on a particular thing, as well as individual sessions around deciphering signs, symbols, and synchronicities, gaining a better understanding of how the universe is speaking to you, your particular dialect. That link is in the bio description. Sue Frederick says angels are all around you, that actually you can ask for that assistance at any time because they are part of what you came here to experience along with your lessons. Look for them. You may see them as light in a room or a photo. Your mind will say it's a glitch, but what if it's not? What if that is the angel breaking through your cynicism? This mind is your survival mechanism, and right now, you are needed on Earth for something higher. You are here to lead with your soul, with your unstoppable light. Sue, you begin this book telling us that you saw an angel and that you see angels. You hear angels. For the average person, how do we hear what the angels are trying to tell us? How do we cultivate that presence and that listening or the awareness that they are actually around us even when we are moving through the contrast?
I will say that all spiritual work begins with quieting the human mind, and I know everyone has heard that ad nauseum, but it is true that this mind that we need here on Earth in order to survive is not meant to be our boss, and we are meant to quiet it through sacred practice, whether that means meditating or walking in nature. Whatever it is you can do to get out of your fear mind allows you to open that portal where you can see and hear and feel all the divine beings around you. I was very much immersed in my work with clients and my numerology and my conversations with guides and departed loved ones and the God source, but I wasn't really tuning into the angels until an angel appeared in my bedroom as a light being reflected on the wall, and it appeared long enough that I could even take a picture of it with my phone. And I began to have a conversation with this being, and I was saying, "Who are you? Why are you here?" And the being said, "I am your mother in the angelic realm, and I am here to tell you that you have to teach that the angels are here to help and that humans need to accept us as their first helpers." And that conversation blew my mind for so many reasons. I mean, for one reason is that I had a mother on earth who was never able to fully love me. That was our soul agreement for highest good. And this angel was giving me so much unconditional love instantly that I felt that mothering, nurturing love that I felt like a big part of my life I had always been longing for. It got my attention. And then from then on, I started in my meditation saying, "Angels, tell me what to do. What are you here for? What am I here for?" And then they started shifting the conversation of my work, helping me feel them around them all the time. And then I went through a major health crisis a few months after that angel appeared in my bedroom. And then they were visible to me every step of the way in the hospital through surgery. The angels were showing me how real they were and also giving me an extraordinary healing miracle. And I knew that they were not just doing this for me. They were doing this so that I would really spread the word that this is who they are and how they're trying to help us.
As human beings, we're here to master these pillars of physicality, emotionality, mentality, and energetics. Yet most of us have mastered codependence instead. To move and shift from a place of codependence in our approach to the angels or in that access to unconditional love, it seems to me that as we give ourselves more unconditional love, then we also have the access to receive the other. People look at meditation or chanting or some of the spiritual practices or even taking time to rest as a task to do, as something to plug into their calendar and try to get through, rather than an act of unconditional love. Can you speak to how to approach these practices and how to open ourselves and our heart to what true love really is?
When I work with a client, I always ask, do you meditate? And so many times I hear people say, "No, I can't meditate. I can't sit still. I can't quiet my mind." And it almost makes me laugh because the reason we meditate is we do it like we brush our teeth in the morning. We don't go, "Oh, I don't go in the bathroom. I don't brush my teeth because I don't like that toothbrush." We just go do it for 5 minutes. And it's just part of being human, and we accept that. And meditation can be done in 5 to 10 minutes, but it is part of our normal routine of being human, like caring for the body. We have to sit for a moment and either use mantra or music or frequency or a guided meditation to pull us out of our human view. And if people give it just 5 to 10 minutes a day, they get back in touch with their higher soul, and that becomes addictive. Because then you're no longer spinning in your anxiety and fear and blame all day. You're feeling this incredible relief from that, this healing, loving energy from the angels coming into you. I always tell my clients, if you would do this every day for 2 weeks, you'll be coming back to me telling me you're addicted to it because it is such a place of beauty and rest and clarity. People need to get over that little bit of resistance and try it. And the other thing, as I say, is nowadays you can do it so easily. You can just put on a frequency app that has a very high-pitched sound to it, but you have to sit, close your eyes, and just absorb that frequency, let it quiet your mind. And then you're going to feel better. You'll be more in touch with your higher soul. These are gifts to humans. These are not chores. And that's what we have to share to shift our understanding of.
I love chapter 7 in your book where you talk about the 7 stones to ascension, because it reframes these 7 places: the grief, the lack of purpose, the disappointment in others or the world at large, the disappointment in self and self-doubt, the relationship struggles, the health in the body, the spiritual crisis. These are the things that every single human being will meet in their lifetime as a place to transcend. I'd love for you to share about one or many of these. Help us to open to these gifts, because in a sense, that's what they are as well.
They are absolutely gifts. When we're believing that this terrible thing happened to me and I am a victim and there's nothing good in this grief or in this sense of, in my health crisis or in my sense of disappointment in the world, then we're in our human mind, our ego lens. And yet our soul is going, this devastating grief that you are feeling right now is the most essential part of your soul's plan to help you awaken on earth. And boy, our ego resists that so much and will fight with it. But finally, when we're worn down, we begin to say, well, what if there is a higher understanding I can get from this devastating loss? What if there are angels trying to help me through it? What if my departed loved one is still right beside me and wants to see me happy? What if this is all part of my plan of awakening? Those little tiny questions begin to change everything. And I am gifted with working with an incredible nonprofit organization called Helping Parents Heal. It's 30,000 grieving parents around the world. But these are all parents who decided that they were not going to spend the rest of their life broken and devastated by the loss of a child. They were going to start asking those questions that made them explore a different way of living with this loss, and a different way of seeing where their child went, and a different way of framing it spiritually. And these parents are incredible souls and living meaningful lives and honoring their children every day. This is a lesson to all of us about how to look at grief as our greatest stone that the angels remove from our heart the moment we allow it.
That's really, really powerful. What an amazing organization, and the presence that you bring to it, I'm sure, is spectacular. When you say that the angels removed this stone of grief, speak a little more to that. Are we feeling it? Are we shifting into our soul path? Is there a physical sensation? Explain that a little bit more, Sue.
So this came to me because I went to Unity Ministerial School a couple years ago. I've studied every spiritual tradition. I've lived in an ashram. I've grew up Catholic. I've studied Native American, everything. And I've taken from each path this beautiful nugget of an understanding, a different understanding of God in the divine world. And Unity was such a gift for me because part of my studies were going back to really understand the origins of the Bible. Because today's Christian fundamentalism viewpoint is that it's a literal word of God document. And that has always completely not felt true to me. And by being able to go back and study what the original story was, perhaps about Jesus, the enlightened teacher who came to earth to show us all that we can be enlightened on earth, one of the most beautiful stories in that is that when Jesus had died, the next morning, the women who loved him came to his tomb to see him, to see his body. There was, and in the original interpretation of the Bible, it says a being of light was on the stone that blocked the tomb. Now, of course, that got translated to an angel with a sword and all sorts of human images that we put to it. But this being of light said, he is no longer in there, and moved the stone away from the tomb so that these beautiful women who loved Jesus could realize, There is no death. He lives in spirit. He is still with us. And they were the first people in the story who began to communicate with Jesus in spirit. This to me means that the angels move these stones from our heart when we are seeking answers and not just locked down in our pain. So you can even go to that Christian Bible for that story. It's Matthew 28, I believe, and read it today and see how that being of light, that angel, removed that stone of grief from those women's heart so they could understand that the spirit lives on and there is no death. So each of us, when we're feeling the stone of whatever we're experiencing, our relationship pain, our health issue, we simply say, angels, help me remove this stone, transform it to love and wisdom, and it is done. This is how pure and easy that healing can be to begin as humans on earth.
I love how you brought us to the awareness of that stone being pushed aside and how it correlates to these stones that you share within this book. You also say that challenges are not punishment, that they're invitations to rise into our soul's true mission. How do angels help us activate that path?
Well, I think that's a really important thing because, there's so many people on earth who say, I have this really hard life and I must have been a really bad person in a past lifetime or something. 40 years ago, when I was studying Hinduism and Buddhism, I did hear some of that dogma that would say, if you do a wrong act, you have to come back and pay for it. That understanding of karma is to me as wrong as the Christian fundamentalist belief that says, if you sin, do something wrong, you burn in hell for eternity. Those are human stories of unworthiness that we have created. The truth is that we are constantly worthy. Every challenge that comes to us is a gift that we thought before we came to earth would help us awaken. If we are having a lot of challenges, it means that our soul decided before we came to earth, and I know I was one of these souls, I said, I think I've kind of slept through a couple of other lifetimes when I came to earth. And I didn't try very hard, and I think I left early as well. And this lifetime, I'm coming in to learn strength and wisdom and love while I'm still in the human body. And so I will go through whatever it takes to get me there. And I'm a great example of a stubborn, hard-headed learner because I'm in my mid-70s now, and I am still learning it. And as I learn it, I turn around and teach it. But I am grateful for the grief. I am grateful for the lack of purpose. I am grateful for the health challenges, every single bump in the road that made me look up and go, is there a higher purpose to this? Show me, teach me, lift me up to know it.
Yeah, I often think that I must have been a really rebellious soul and must have said, you think I can't do that? Oh, bring it
Right.
on. I will do this, this, and that.
I agree with you. I think we must have known each other in the heavenly realms and said, come on, we'll find each other when we're getting through most of it and we'll reconnect then.
Exactly. And, it's important to be able to not only cry our tears through the experiences that we have, but to also be able to laugh at the silliness of what we have created for ourselves.
My gosh, yes. The angels love our laughter. In fact, one of the ways you discern that it's the angels, when you allow yourself to hear it, their voices are so filled with light and laughter and love. It's not a heavy, serious voice. It is a voice of laughter and love and lightness and music. And that laughter is one of our incredible gifts of awakening on earth. And all through my own darkest times, even my moment of health crisis a year ago, I would always look for laughter as a way to lift me up to the angelic frequency. And the minute I would start to have that laughter, whether it was with friends or I'll tell you a story that on the night that I was diagnosed, and I was diagnosed with colon cancer, which is what my husband died from when I was 29, and I swore that I would never get it. I ate healthy. I was even a health writer in my 30s, writing about healthy eating and healthy living. And then at this point, to have this diagnosis, one part of me wanted to go, oh, this is the greatest tragedy of my human life. But thank goodness I've been doing this work long enough that I was instantly shifting into, all right, angels, show me a way through this. Tell me what this is all about. And the first message was, you need to laugh right now to shift your energy. And so I sent my loved ones home. That had been a long day at the hospital. I sent them home. And this is before we knew that the surgery would be a miracle and that I had no spread. We didn't know anything yet. I kicked everyone out of my hospital room and I put on my favorite comedy movie on my phone. And I sat there for 2 hours laughing my butt off at this movie. The nurses were coming in the room going, "Are you okay, Sue?" And I was like, "Yes, just let me laugh." And they were like, "Do you want to talk about this?" "No, I don't want to talk about it. I just want to laugh." And that got me to a place where I could go to sleep that night very peacefully, knowing that this was an important moment in my soul's journey and that the angels were with me. And I tell you, that was such a gift, SIMRAN. And that night of laughter, from then on, everything was guided so purely and clearly by the angels that by the time a few weeks later that I got a call from the surgeon that said, "We can't believe it. We took out this huge chunk of your colon and this huge tumor, but there is no spread." And the surgeon even said, "This is a miracle. Go live your life." And I remember hearing those words out of her mouth going, it wasn't me. It was the angels trying to show me something, and I'm going to make it worth it for as long as I'm still here on earth.
What your story shares with me is that, number one, there's a lot to do with frequency and raising our vibration and energy level when we are in the midst of a, air quotes, illusion. As
Yeah.
real as it feels, as real as it looks, it's still an illusion that our human self is having to live through. But you didn't go into this fantasy realm or wishful thinking of, oh, I'm just going to ignore surgery. I'm just not going to do anything. You allowed yourself to be present with what needed to happen, but it's almost like you were detached or dispassionate when it came to the cancer.
Yeah. I mean, I was totally shifting into my soul's view through the whole thing. And I remember a girlfriend telling me she was doing some Reiki energy healing. And she said, watching you go through this, what I'm learning is that you always go right to your soul's view of something, even when it's terrifying. And I said, well, maybe not in the first 5 minutes, but yeah, I try to get there as soon as I can. When we do that, or when we try to do that, we see the guidance everywhere. I had to go interview surgeons, and this is one of my favorite stories about the experience. When I was much younger, I would have looked at all of the surgeons' accolades and praises, and even we had a very powerful surgeon at a major hospital here, world respected, that I interviewed with, and I walked out of that meeting going, no. The guides, my intuition, the angels, everybody went, "Get out of here." Like I could hardly breathe while I was in the meeting. And then I kept saying, I'm not going to say yes to surgery until the angel walks in the room who I know is right for me. And finally, I was meeting this surgeon referred by somebody, and she walks in the room and tears came to my eyes. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to live or die through this, but you are my angel and you're going to get me through it either way. And that I didn't even need for her to tell me how she was going to perform the surgery. It was like it was done. And my intuition had guided me. My angels had opened the door, and I followed every choice that way. And if it had spread, I would have continued that process of going, okay, angels, what's next? Show me, guide me.
That really does feel like a grounding into faith and trust, surrender,
Mm,
and also resilience to know the strength of the spirit
right.
that can move through anything. You've used the words soul, soul path, soul plan many times throughout this conversation, and you are a master numerologist. You do work with individuals in terms of understanding their soul path. Would you share a little bit about what that is for individuals that are not familiar and how someone working with you would gain a greater understanding of themselves and their purpose through something like that?
When we talk about the stone of grief being the great awakening, when my husband, my beautiful young mountain climbing husband, Paul, died such a painful death of colon cancer in 1979, I was devastated and I couldn't find meaning or purpose, even though Paul was coming back and showing me he was fine. And my question was, well, why do I have to stay here? Why am I here? Why can't I go be with him in the higher realms? And nobody could help me with that until I got a reading with a numerologist. And this was like 1980. You couldn't just go online and find information about it. It was a pretty hidden sign, like astrology, even then. This numerologist said to me, Sue, you came in on the 22-4 master path. This is not a path for sissies. You agreed to be here to build your strength and then to turn around and shift consciousness. It's a big job. And you had this soul agreement with Paul of the number 9, which was about surrendering to the highest lessons. Number 9 does not mean getting married and living happily ever after with the white picket fence. It means highest moments of awakening. And then Paul was on this path of the number 5, which meant learning all of his lessons through his physicality and burning them up to transform himself before the life was over. Exactly what happened to Paul and what he went through. And as I heard these words, and she went back and reviewed my 9-year reinvention cycles throughout my whole life, I was astounded by how true it resonated with every cell of my body. That right there has been the greatest gift of my awakening, because I have used those numbers ever since to understand my own journey, my own reinvention points, my children, my spouse, my loved ones, and most importantly, when I finally believed I was good enough to turn around and help clients and everyone say, oh, this is what you came to do. This is why you're experiencing this. This is what your soul agreement is. This is how to move forward. And I have helped thousands of clients with the gift of the numbers that show us our soul's plan.
You can go to SueFrederick.com and fill out the free Soul Path Calculator, which will give you a brief list of your numbers. And then you can schedule a session with Sue to have a deeper understanding of what all of that means. SueFrederick.com. Now, you have also talked about there's a third book in the Angel Up series. So today we're discussing Angel Up, the Angel's Guide to Ascension. Also, Angel Up, the Study Guide, which is a sacred companion. Can you share with individuals exactly the best way to work with these 3 guides?
Well, I'll tell you, the first one came through me and I was like, yay, it's done. I'm never going to write another book. I'm finished. And then the angels were like, nope, you have to write a study guide so that people everywhere can just lead these discussion groups and help people realize how the angels are trying to help them and help people angel up. Study guide, I don't even know what that is, And they just poured that one through me. And I was so grateful because it helps people say, I like these ideas. I really want to incorporate them in my day-to-day life. So I'm going to start a little discussion group about it. And together we will all angel up. So I thought, okay, now I'm done. That's awesome. And then the third one was like, no, this is a 3-book series. And the third one uses the sacred number 33. And it gives people 33 angelic writing prompts so that for 33 days, if they read the prompt and write in the journal, by the end of those 33 days, they have a pure, powerful relationship with the angels coming through their automatic writing. I think I'm done now, finally, but I feel like those 3 books back to back can help all of us, no matter how hard these times can be. We will find tools to help us. And I'm saying me too. Like, this is not from Sue Frederick. This is not my ego that wrote these books. So I can open these books anytime and read something that lifts me up. reminds me of the angelic presence and helps me claim my own angelic wisdom. And we all need those tools.
A channeled message from the angels, from Angel Up, the Angel's Guide to Ascension. You are not here by accident. You chose this time, this place, this life, because you are strong enough, wise enough, and radiant enough to be a carrier of divine light on earth during this essential awakening. You are an angel in form. You have always been this. Even in your moments of doubt, even when you felt broken or lost, we've seen your true radiance shining brighter than the stars. We've whispered to you, "Rise, beloved. You are needed now." Living as an angel on earth is not about being perfect. It's about remembering who you are when you doubt, when your doubt makes you forget. It's about bringing love into every situation, even when fear surrounds you. It's about seeing every soul through your divine lens of compassion, even when the human personality wounds you. It's about holding the frequency of sacred wisdom, even when the human world feels heavy. Your light is needed more than ever now. All is well with your soul, and it always has been, and so it is. This is from Angel Up, the Angel's Guide to Ascension. Angel Up is more than a book, and this is more than a series. This is a soul initiation. It's a call to action from the angelic realm. Humans need to shift up to a higher frequency now to become angels on earth at this pivotal time. You'll discover how to shift from the human lens of pain to the soul lens of purpose. The truth about angels, departed loved ones, and divine guidance. Simple prayers and meditations to receive angelic support daily, and Sue's extraordinary real-life stories of miracles, healing, and divine intervention. It's a step-by-step path for your own ascension and spiritual empowerment. Thank you so much, Sue, for being on 1111 Talk Radio, and as always, for bringing your wisdom, your love, and your radiance.
Thank you so much.
I really enjoy working individually with people. If you're looking for some additional support and guidance, and you really want to dive into the subtle, then there are quite a few options on my website at IamSimran.com that have to do with shadow work or manifestation if you want a more focused approach on a particular thing, as well as individual sessions around deciphering signs, symbols, and synchronicities, gaining a better understanding of how the universe is speaking to you, your particular dialect. That link is in the bio description. Thank you so much for spending time. Until next week, I am SIMRAN, in love, of love, with love and as love. Be well.
Thank you for opening your mind to a new reality, your heart to greater compassion, and your experience of aliveness with 1111 Talk Radio. Join host SIMRAN next Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time to step through the gateway of conscious living. You are not on the journey. You are the journey.